Hi guys, welcome to another week of the weekly forex forecast. So on the DSY, don't forget that we have like 4 interest rate decision last week, and FOMC leave their rates unchanged again. So we didn't see much volatility in terms of the interest rate decision in the US dollar last week. And then, as you can see on the DSY, we know that the overall direction of this DSY is to the downside, but for now I think we should see some major pullback before the continuation to the downside. So that major pullback will bring about US dollar strength. That is probably next week. That's what I'm actually looking at next week. So here, there is a new low created around this area, which I showed you guys last week. And then you can see that the DSY is, we can see a pullback back to this, a rejection to the downside. So I think that is what in my outlook this week. As you can see how these are this last week daily candle close. So I was thinking that, let's go to the 4-hour time frame. So I was thinking that I will see a close below 98,500, but unfortunately we have a close above that level. Price is not close below, and then we started having change of character at this level when a new low was formed around this area, and then price came here, but price didn't we didn't see a new low around this area. So which means that this place was invalidated, and then markets from a new high around this area, which retest. Then it retest at 38.2 fib level. If you check that particular area, yes, I don't know. Okay, it retest at 50% Fibonacci retracement level before it rejects. So let me use our 15-minute time frame to check. So it rejects at 50% Fibonacci retracement level, yeah, and then we saw another high created which invalidates this particular high right there. But when it came to retest, there was no new low formation at this area. So I was thinking that if price was successfully close below 98,500, then there's going to be an invalidation of this low, and then we are going to form a new low right there. But as you can see, I can see that we can still we can't take away that we can still see some major pullback around this particular area on the DSY, and this might bring about the US dollar strength, which we actually seen on Friday. Is showcasing itself that we should probably see the US dollar strength on next week. So as you can see this area too, if you want to use a trend line around this particular area, let's say, so if you actually want to use a trend line at this particular area, you can see how price reacts to this trend line. Also, it's still in line with what I'm actually saying. This area too is a very good support level, this 98,500 too. As you can see, as price form gap here, price come back here and reject at the same level, the level breakout, price came to retest, and then this is another retest of that particular level, which means that we might have a major pullback on the US dollar, that is on the DSY, probably back to this level, or we might have it the price might not go back to this level. But for me, I'm thinking of 100 mark. That price might test that 100 or not even up to that before we see the rejection to the downside. You get, because what I'm not even sure of is our price to break this 400 level. You get, but for now I think that we should see some major pullback back to 99 or 100, and if you see that level 2 is a significant level. But don't rule out the fact that is in a downtrend. You get, so you are just trading the pullback. And then if you check the DU EU2 is in an uptrend, but we just need to trade the pullback also. So for me next week, I think I'll be trading the pullback, but I'll be trading the pullback if price still stay above 98,500. If on Monday we saw price breaking below this 98,500, you know, it has been invalidated, then I'll go for US dollar weakness. That is when I will be buying Euro USD aggressively. I will even go aggressively, because one of the reasons I will go aggressively is because it's in an uptrend already. I'm talking about DU and EU and AUD USD, USD into USD and stuff like that, because they're in an uptrend already. So buying with a trend always gives some positive vibes. You have rest of mind than against the trend. You know, the one we want to trade next week, when I'm actually looking at this pullback, is kind of trading against the trend, you get. But if price now break below 98,500, then I will be selling, you get. That's what I want to do. I'll be selling if price break below this this particular level. But if price stays above, then I'll be buying back to this level. That is when I'll be selling Euro USD. So before we go to the individual currency, let's check the economic activities of next week. And don't forget to click like and subscribe to this channel. And we have the link to the verified probe firm and a verified broker. The verified broker, you can deposit as low as 2,000 naira and start trading the naira account. You can open a dollar account too. It is not limited to naira account. And there are some other countries currency there that you can trade with your local currency. So on the prop firm side, it is good to have a broker and also have a prop firm. A prop firm gives you leverage of high capital, so you can buy a blueberry funded as low as $28 when you use my promo code AMBERFS20. I'll give you 20% off on any account you purchase with blueberry funded. So both links are in the description box, so just click the link and register and deposit. So all the videos about the rules of blueberry funded, you see it in this YouTube channel so that you can understand very well. Just click on my videos and you see the blueberry funded rules. Headway to, you will see how to deposit in naira, how to change your dollar account to naira account. So let's check the individual. Let's check the economic activities of next week. Monday, what we have is we have Euro flash manufacturing, that is a French flash manufacturing index, German flash manufacturing index, and the normal flash manufacturing index. So that's what we have, and these are leading indicator news. You get, they are not the lagging indicator news, and they are high impact news. And the PMI too from pounds to, and from the US dollars, you get. So just watch out for all these. These are high impact news that can add significant effect in the market, but on a long run, you get, not on a short time sometimes. But you might have the short term volatility, but the overall effect comes in the long term. On Tuesday too, we have a Canadian CPI. One thing about Canadian dollar is that what is moving it right now is the major conflict in the Middle East between Israel and Iran. And if you check, you see that Canadian dollar is strong, like has gained strength throughout the currency pair. The only pair I see that Canadian dollar is weak last week was US dollar Canadian dollar, and then Euro Canadian dollar, because Euro too is strong last week, very, very strong. You get, so that might be the major effect on this Canadian dollar. And all this CPI might not have a major effect because we still have the big deal, which is the political tension news, and that is one of the big deal when it comes to fundamental. The political tension news supersede most of all these CPI, all these GDP stuff like that when it's around, you get. So that's how it is. And then you see on Tuesday we have Bank of England governor speech, and then we have Jerome Powell's speech too on Tuesday. On Wednesday we have AUD CPI, that is Australian CPI. So year over year, you get. And then Powell too will still testify on Wednesday, and they will have a new home sale too on Wednesday. On Thursday we have Bank of England governor Bailey speech, And then on Thursday we have the final GDP out of the US dollar. Thursday too, there is all every Thursday we have the unemployment claims every Thursday, and next week will not be an exception. There will be an unemployment too on Thursday. On Friday we have the Tokyo CPI, and then all these ones I don't think they will have a major effect, but we have the bigger one, which is GDP and core PCE price index on Friday. So these are the major fundamental next week, but the one I think will move the market, probably maybe a short-term volatility, is a Monday, and then probably on Wednesday when Jerome Powell testify. On Tuesday too, but I'm not seeing a major effect coming out from the CPI of the Canadian dollar. And then on Friday, I'm not seeing it. But last week, high impact news too might move the market next week. So just try and see it and relate it together. You get, so just do the plus or minus, because all the what is it called? The central bank interest rate decision last week is one of the major things that can actually move the market this week. So let's go to the individual currency and see what we have for the week, and let's see the individual pairs I have on my watch list. Pair I want to show you guys is Euro US dollar. So as you can see, this Euro US dollar, last week I probably sold personally Euro US dollar from here. I was thinking to take profit around there, and half of my profit it rejects, and then end up taking I didn't break even though, and then end up losing that particular trade. But this one I still believe that it's still going to sell, because after doing this, it's just taking out this liquidity, and then it's back to 1.5285. So something like this is what I see that it's happened around that area. So for me, I still believe that we should still have one more retest before a major rejection, and then this place will actually break to the upside. So I'm looking at Euro US dollars sell next week if price didn't break this at 1.15285. So I'm looking to sell back to the particular area right here. You get, so I'm looking to sell, and then a buy position might actually come here, and then we'll see price breaking that particular level to the upside. You get, so this is what I'm actually still looking at on the Euro US dollar next week. So I'm looking to sell around this area. That is on Monday. Yeah, I will be selling Euro US dollar from this particular area if price is still below 1.15285, and I'll be taking my profit below this low, which is let's say 1.14076, and I'll be waiting for a rejection at that particular area. As you can see, there's form of a demand level around this particular area, as you can see. So which means that this is where I'm looking to take another buy position to the upside. But if you're not taking the sell, you can just wait for a buy position at this particular area, which might give you let's say 1:5 risk to reward. You get, so if you're not taking the sell, put your buy limit at this particular area and wait. But I'm taking the sell too, and then probably taking my profit around this particular area before thinking of taking any buy from that area. As you can see, what we did on DSY too, now we might actually see a short-term retracement to the upside. So I think these same things come with Euro USD, short-time sell, and then we might have a long-term buy that might even be up to 1:10 risk to reward. So the next pair I want to take is DBP US dollar. DBP US dollar too, as you can see that as price keeps forming a higher low, there is higher high, price form another higher low, and there is higher high. Price form a low, which is not higher low. These are intermediary low, and then there is no new high at this particular area, which is giving us a sign. And then we now saw a low that break this higher low, and then price now form a lower high, lower low. We still see price breaking this, but did not come towards this high, and then reject again, you get, and close below 1.34741. And this is a major area to me which price might still respect. You understand? So if price stay below this one on Monday, I will be willing to sell, and then price might create a new lower low around this particular area. So this is just like a lower high and this lower low for me. You understand what I'm saying? And then I put a Fibonacci retracement here, thinking that price might get up to 61 point or 50% fib level. Okay, price gets to the 50% Fibonacci retracement level, and then it's reject. So for me, I believe that price will still sell more around that particular area. So we can just look for a pullback back to this area. Maybe you can do some range here, and then a sell back to 1.32599. So I'm looking for a sell setup on GBP USD if price stay below 1.34741. But if price break that 1.34741, then I'll be buying back to this particular high right there. So that's what I'm looking at on GBP USD going to the next trade. On AUD USD, nothing. I'm just blank, because what really happened is that this area I've marked it like for the past 2 weeks. So price is still just dancing around that area. On SND USD, I'm looking for a sell setup back to the downside. You can see the same thing. You can see that as price want to break out the trend line, price become slopey to the trend line, and then we have a breakout, a retest, and then price will actually break this particular low. Price, there's high probability, 90% probability that price will break this low to the downside. So which means that you might just have a small pullback, and then boom, you have a major sell back to the downside. Okay, so that's what I'm actually looking at on SND USD, a major sell to the downside back to 0.58601. So we might see a pullback that will not be this high right there. But and if this area break, you might see a pullback back to this area. Again, that's another thing. And then this area is what I'll be looking at, this price level. If this price did not break, there's no reason for us to buy. But if we have a break of 0.60573, then we can start preparing to actually buy and then take out this high to the upside. But for now, I still believe that price should break this low, and then we should have price back to 0.58601. So on US dollar card, which is the next pair for us to take, if you check the daily time frame, you'll see that price has actually resumed to the upside. But these are major key levels. This area have major key level, but as price break this low, we have a new low, and then this new low break, we now have a new low. So there's a change of character at this particular area right here. As you can see, there's a change of character, and if you want to know how that change of character is clear enough, you can use a line chart. So, and you can see that we have a character change at this area, and then for that you can actually wait for a pullback, a major pullback, to buy a US dollar card to the upside. So let's go back to this candlestick. So you can wait for a major pullback on this to actually buy. So if you want to use a 2-hour time frame or 1 hour, as the case may be, so you might look for a major pullback around this area. So for me, I think that we should be looking for a buy setup around this particular area. You get the price can actually retrace back to this area, and then you set your buy limit at that particular area, and then you take your profit at, but you should not let price get to that major level before you take your profit. You get, you can actually take your profit at this high right there. Yeah. So let's say 1:6 risk to reward ratio. Yeah, so that's what I'm looking at on US dollar, Canadian dollar. Going to the next week. So next one is US dollar JPY. For me, I'm looking for a major pullback to buy US dollar JPY at this price level, for price to pull back to this level, and I'll take my profit at 148,216. You get, so this is what I'm looking at on US dollar JPY, a major pullback on Monday. So if I see a pullback back to this area, I'm going to buy and take my profit. That's 148,216 on Canadian dollar JPY. As you can see, Canadian dollar is very strong, and then probably JPY is weak. So I took this trade last week. It does not eat take profit, so hopefully next week this trade should eat take profit around this area. I can even extend that take profit to 1:4, because there's high probability that price will still eat this particular area right here. Price will still eat here. So, and if you want to enter, let me tell you where you can enter. If you see a pullback back to that trend line, if you see a pullback back to this area, then you are lucky. You can enter, because price might eventually hit that spot. AUD/JPY next week, I believe that AUD and SND might be weaker because of the US dollar strength and what is going on right now. Because anytime there is war, some currency that do suffer for it is AUD and SND. You get, so yeah, I believe that we should see a sell setup below 94,598. If price stay below this area, we should see a sell setup, but maybe a small pullback, and then a sell setup back to this low, which is 92,598. You get, so we should see a sell setup back to that particular area. And then if that area is too much, you can actually use a trend line to determine where your take profits might be. So if that, you can take your profit at this level. If you check the 1 hour time frame of 15 minutes, it will show you some things there as well, where you can in which you can use, you understand. So you can actually wait for a pullback and then a rejection to take your profit at this level, or wait for 92.600. Let's just put it that way. And the last pair I want to check here is SND/USD. At the beginning of this week, I saw this SND/JPY off, and then we took profit. So right now there is a break of this structure, and then there is no structure high at this particular area, and this 87.26 is where I put this line has not been validated. Even if I try to drag it to this major line, which is here, and here. Okay, so let's just identify that number 1 is here, number 2 is here, and then number 3 is here, which are the major significant level that might drag price to the downside at this particular area. And this 15-minute time frame, see the rejection, see the multiple rejection at this particular area, which means that I'm looking for a sell setup back to this level. I'm looking for a setup back to 86,400. But another thing might happen at this particular area, which price might come here, which price might hit this level, and then we might see a rejection back to the upside. You get, it happens, and it can happen. So that's what I'm actually looking for next week. That's what I'm looking forward to next week. Sell setup on SND/JPY and then AUD/JPY. So if you watch this video to the end, congratulations. Just write it down, write the pair down, and then we are looking at, and use your own strategy to probably do your own analysis and check if we have the same outlook or the same view. You get, so that's how you make a very good decision next week on your trade next week. And don't forget to subscribe to this YouTube channel, subscribe and share to your friend. And like I said, there's a link to a verified broker and a verified pro firm in the description box. So open headway and deposit as low as 2k to trade. And on the pro firm, I can give you a discount up to 20% discount on any account you purchase. Just use Amber FS20 on your discount code. So guys, have a profitable week ahead. Always use a protective stop loss, and don't forget to trade safely.